Blackwell and Councilman Kenyatta Johnson, and please join us at the mic. We want to honor your clocks. Where's President Clarke? Okay. We want to say, shh. Oh, she's got it. The script's up here. Thank you. To President Clarke, members of the leadership team, and for all of you, once again, staying with us and sticking with us so that we can celebrate our 6th annual African American History Month celebration. Short story. At the start of the 20th century, we know that the work of Carter G. Woodson became very, very apparent. There are many events that impacted Carter G. Woodson's decision to make women, I really need to push the pause button. This is not Women's History Month. This is African American History Month. Started in 1912 by Carter G. Woodson. Many of you may not know that he was the second African American to earn a PhD from Harvard University. In recognition of his growing accomplishments, in 1915, Dr. Woodson founded what is now known today as the Association for the Study of African American Life and History. He was an educator in that he wrote 30 books and went on to establish the Journal of Negro History in 1916 and Negro History Bulletin in 1937. Negro History Week actually coincidentally fell on the birthdays of Frederick Douglass and Abraham Lincoln. 50 years later, in 1976, the President established Black History Month, which we still enjoy today by Americans and corporations around the country. So I need to close where I started by first saying a huge thank you to President Clarke and to members of the Philadelphia Beverage Association who philosophically believe that this is a good thing to do. Thank you, Ed Hazuri, Fran McCory, Sean King. A big thank you to Danny Grace, and a shout out to Haji Malumian. This is a partnership with Art Sanctuary, which, as I mentioned before, is found in Councilman Kenyatta Johnson's district. And we're going to get busy. You can, over the last remaining days at Black History Month, go to the Philadelphia African American Museum, visit the President's House, walk to Art Sanctuary at 16th and Bainbridge. PAFA has a beautiful exhibit celebrating a young African American artist, Hindi Wali and Mikaeling Thomas. Philadanko will be performing at the Kimmel. And of course, we have the Philadelphia Art Museum and the Barnes Foundation, which both now have African art exhibits. And so with that, we're going to proceed with the celebration. I want to thank my colleagues for joining in for the spoken word, where we will be celebrating African American women who've lifted up this country. Honorable Darrell Clarke.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Sojourner Truth. When I left the house of bondage, I left everything behind. I wasn't going to keep nothing of Egypt on me. And so I went to the Lord and asked him to give me a new name. And he gave me Sojourner because I was to travel up and down the land, showing the people their sins and being a sign unto them. I told the Lord I wanted 2 names because everybody else had 2. And the Lord gave me truth, because I was to declare the truth to the people.
Sojourner Truth. I must sojourn once to the ballot box before I die. I hear the ballot box is a beautiful glass globe, so you can see all the votes as they go in. Now, the first time I vote, I'll see if the women's vote looks any different from the rest, if it makes any stir or commotion. If it don't inside, it need not outside.
Also, Sojourner Truth. If the first woman God ever made was strong enough to turn the world upside down all alone, these women together ought to be able to turn it back and get it right side up again. And now they is asking to do it, the men better let them.
Ooh, love it. Please, love please. It. Oh, okay.
Sojourner Truth. And ain't I a woman? Look at me, look at my arm. I have plowed and planted and gathered into barns, and no man could have me. And ain't I a woman? I could work as much and eat as much as a man when I could get it, and bear the lash as well. And ain't I a woman? I have borne 13 children and seen most all sold off to slavery. And when I cried out with my mother's grief, none but Jesus heard me. Ain't I a woman?
Ida B. Wells, the way to right wrongs is to turn the light of truth upon them.
Ida B. Wells, the doors of the churches, hotels, concert halls, and reading rooms are alike closed against the Negro as a man, but every place is open to him as a servant.
Oh, this is a good one. Brave men do not gather by thousands to torture and murder a single individual. So gagged and bound, he cannot make even feeble resistance or defense.
Fannie Lou Hamer, I have just as much a right to stay in America. In fact, the black people have contributed more to America than any other race because our kids have fought here for what they call democracy. Our mothers and fathers were sold and bought here for a price. So all I can say when they say go back to Africa, I say when you send the Chinese back to China, the Italians back to Italy, and you get on that Mayflower from whence you came and give the Indians their land bank, who really would be here at home?
Fannie Lou Hamer, whether you have a PhD or no D, we're in this bag together. And whether you're from Morehouse or no house, we're still in this bag together. Not to try to fight to liberate ourselves from the men. This is another trick to get us from fighting among ourselves, but to work together with the black man. Then we will have a better chance to act just as human beings and to be treated as human beings in our sick society.
Fannie Lou Hamer still. We have to build our own power. We have to win every single political office we can where we have a majority of black people. The question for black people is not when is the white man going to give us our rights, or when is he going to give us good education for our children, or when is he going to give us jobs. If the white man gives you anything, just remember, when he gets ready, he'll take it right back. We have to take for ourselves.
Shirley Chisholm. I ran for the presidency, despite hopeless odds, to demonstrate the sheer will and refusal to accept the status quo, to give a voice to the people, to the major candidates we're ignoring. What I hope most is that now there will be others who will feel themselves as capable of running for high political office and as wealthy, good-looking white male. That's not me. Shirley Chisholm. When I die, I want to be remembered as a woman who lived in the 20th century and who dared to be a catalyst of change. I don't want to be remembered as the first black woman who went to Congress, and I don't even want to be remembered as the first woman who happened to be black to make a bid for the presidency. I want to be remembered as a woman who fought for change in the 20th century. That's what I want.
Shirley Chisholm continued. Most Americans have never seen the ignorance, degradation, hunger, sickness, and futility in which many other Americans live. They won't become involved in economics or political change until something brings the seriousness of the situation home to them.
Michelle Obama. I wake up every morning in a house that was built by slaves, and I watch my daughters, two beautiful, intelligent black young women, playing with their dogs on the White House lawn.
Michelle Obama, you're important in your own right. People need to value you because of who you are, because of your story, because of your challenges. That's what makes you unique, you know? You want to be different. You want to be special. The fact that you've been able to overcome challenges, and this is what I've always thought, that made me smarter, that made me better, because I could overcome things that a lot of people who were in the same position never had to overcome.
Michelle Obama, what sometimes is missing for young girls is that so early in our lives we're shushed. And not just directly shushed, sometimes we're treated a little too preciously. They treat us like a doll. They don't treat us like real beings, equal partners. I loved early my father, but I was never so precious that he didn't think I could be there at the table.
Michelle Obama, this generation, because of social media and the internet, kids are more exposed to more people and more cultures. I think that they are more open in many ways. They are less tolerant of obvious inequities. This generation will look at what is happening now in the world and say, quote, this doesn't feel right because this wasn't what I was taught. And that generation is our future, a future whose ancestors fought to overcome slavery and to work to occupy the highest positions of power in the land, President and First Lady. I hope that some of these quotations have inspired you during this African American History Celebration, and to take a look at our own, for the young women, daughters, nieces and nephews, mentees in our lives, hashtag Black Girl Magic, that you'll reflect back upon the women that fought to get us where we are this afternoon. It is their shoulders upon which we must stand. We must forever be mindful of our history. So again, I want to thank all of my colleagues for staying around and helping us enjoy this experience of African American History Month, the 6th annual celebration of African American History Month. And a huge thank you again to President Clarke for his willingness to allow us to do this. To the sponsors, I'm told you were not in the room. This doesn't happen without your financial support. So again, to the Philadelphia Beverage Association, Fran McCoury, Sean King, Danny Grace, Ed Hazuri, Haji Malumium, and all the representatives of the Philadelphia Beverage Association. Now, wherever two people are gathered, there should be song and dance. So I'll ask my colleagues to recess to their chairs, and we will invite up Suzann Christine, one of Philadelphia's own songsters. Thank you, colleagues. Let's salute our colleagues. They did a fantastic job. Let's lift them up. That's what we need to hear. Thank you.
May we all rise for the African American Black National Anthem. Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring, ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of our new day, be let us march on till victory is won. Thank you. And now I will sing this one selection, Rise Up, by Andrew Day, as we have risen. You may take your seats. We're broken down and tired of living life in a merry-go-round. When you can find a fighter, but I see it in you, so we gon' walk it out and move mountains. We gon' walk it out and move mountains. And I'll rise up, I'll rise like the day. I'll rise up, I'll rise unafraid. I'll rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again. And I'll rise up, I like the waves. I'll rise up, in spite of the ache. I'll rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again. For you, for you, when the silence isn't quiet, and it feels like it's getting hard to breathe, and I know you feel like dying, but I promise we'll take the world to its feet and mountains, bring it to its feet and mountains. And I'll rise up, I'll rise like the waves. I'll rise up, in spite of the ache. I'll rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again. For you, for you, all we need is hope. And for that we found each other. And for that we have each other. And we will rise, we will rise, we will rise. I'll rise up, I like the day. I'll rise up, in spite of the ache. I will rise 1,000 times again. And we'll rise up, we'll rise like the day. We'll rise up, in spite of the ache. We will rise, and you will rise. I will rise for Thank you. We will rise 1,000 times again. Thank you.
Beautiful. God bless you with this voice of a bird. Wherever two people are gathered, there shall be music and dance. Please welcome Zoie Dance, praise dancer, who will provide us with a dance and spiritual medley.
no sunshine when she's gone. It's not warm when she's away. Ain't no sunshine when she's gone. Ain't no sunshine when she's gone. It's not a warm when she's away. Ain't no sunshine when she's gone. She's always gone. Ain't no sunshine when she's gone. It's not warm when she's away.
When technology works for you, it's a great thing. And when technology doesn't cooperate, you adapt. So we're going to, while we try to figure out whether or not technology is going to cooperate, we're going to move forward with the St. Thomas Gospel Choir of the African Episcopal Church of St. Thomas. Invite them in so that we can proceed with the gospel music. Please. Let's welcome them and the God-given gifts of song they've been given. Thank you to the St. Thomas Gospel Choir of the African Episcopal Church of St. Thomas, which is located in Councilman Curtis Jones' district. We want to say thank you to you all. I want to shout out to Will Carter for your shuttle diplomacy. Thank you, Will. And to Danny Grace, you were able to join us. Would you stand up so that we can put the name with the face? Thank you very, very much, Danny Grace. So wherever two people are gathered, there should be music and there should be food. Please enjoy Kevin Parker, owner of Miss Tootsie's down in South Philadelphia in Councilman Kenyatta Johnson's district. Please receive your bookmarks for this African American History Month and enjoy each other's company next door. Enjoy yourselves.